All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Oh yeah, I'm excited. I don't know about you. Um, it's Samidami again. Yeah, that's my name, Samidami. Okay, right now within this period I'm recording this course, it's the coronavirus or pandemic all around the world. Places of work are closed down, businesses are closed down, supermarkets are closed down, except supermarkets that are selling essential goods like food, water, and then maybe pharmacies too are open up. Okay, yeah. So it's an amazing time, and there's no better time to create hot and in-demand product or services that people will rush to buy. So we're going to be going through this course. It's a short course, just about 1 hour, 10 minutes, and I tell you, it's going to revolutionize your business, your product, your service. So get ready, take the workbook or the worksheet that came along with this class and get ready to make some valuable changes in your business. Okay, so this class is on the 3 P's of product creation, how to create hot and in-demand products or services that people will rush to buy. If you're already into business, I want you to start looking right now and see if your product or service fall into the hot and in-demand category. Is your product hot? Is it in demand? Okay, so like I often tell entrepreneurs and small business owner, business is not really about what you have passion to do. You see, you hear people tell you, oh, you do what is you are passionate about and all of that. But in business, it's not really exactly like that, because what you're passionate about may not be what people want, may not be what people need. So for whatever product or service that you bring to the market, to really make the journey easy for you to be able to command massive sales, you need the product to be hot and in demand. And if peradventure your product is not in the hot and in demand category, you might need to create that urgency, that demand, or you change what you're selling, you change the business you are into. Maybe you redefine your product or service, and that's why you're taking this class right now. So let's go into this class. So the 3 P's of product creation. I know a lot of you have been thinking, what are those 3 P's? Let me ask you now, guess what are those 3 P's? Okay, let's look at it. What are the 3 P's? Okay, what are the 3 P's? The 3 P's of product creation. Okay, like I was saying, the 3 P's of product creation are the 3 pillars that you can use to create any product anytime. You can also use it to create services. Anything you want to bring into the market, you can use these 3 pillars. Okay, so let's look at the pillars. Okay, the 3 P's. You look at it: the problem, number 1; the promise, number 2; and the process, number 3. So you can see them right here: the problem, the promise, and the process. Okay, each time you want to create valuable hot in demand product, you must always consider these 3 key things. So the problem talks about the needs and the wants in your market. What are the needs? What are the wants? What are the things? What are the problems that you see in the market? What problem are you trying to solve? What are the problems you've identified in the market? Then you look at the promise. That's talking about the solutions. What are the solutions that you are going to be providing for these problems that you've seen in the market? Okay, then the process talks about the how. That's how are you going to solve this problem? What process are you going to put in place to take your customer from problem to promise? So people are constantly having problems, and that's why there are needs, there are wants. Okay, there is the transportation problem, there is the food problem, there is the taste problem, the hunger problem, which brings about the food, the transportation, which brings about mobility. Okay, there is the communication problem, which brought the product of telecommunication, and then there is the fashion problem. That's talking about people wants to look good, and that's what brought fashion into light. Okay, so there are all different kinds of problem all over the world. And remember this saying that business is all about solving problems. So these are the 3 pillars for creating this, what I just showed you now. If that's all this video, if that's all we said in this class, in this video, then I think you already got value. So business is all about problem. So it's not just about I want to start a business. That is the wrong thing to say. The right thing to say is I want to solve a problem. I have seen a problem. I have identified a problem. So these are my solutions. Okay, so your product and services are your response to the problems that you've seen in the market. Listen to that very well. Your product and services are the solutions that you've seen, that you are providing for the problem that you've seen in the market. So if you have a product, you have a business, what are you selling? What are your products? What are your services? Okay, so as we go along in the class, you are going to be able to identify the problems that you've seen in the market. Then we'll talk about the process. The process is the how of your product. How does your product solve the problem it says it's gonna solve? How does your product, how does your business deliver the solution to the intending customer, to the intending target market? Okay, so for problems we have needs, we have wants. As we go further, you're going to be able to see whether your products, whether your services are solving the needs or the wants of people. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, the next thing is identifying problems. One of the biggest skill you could ever develop as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, or someone who intends to sell things online, someone who intends to make money online, someone who intends to generate massive sales. One of the biggest skill technique you can ever develop is the technique of identifying problems. You know why? There are problems everywhere, but it's not that easy to see them. You know, when you understand the principle of identifying problems, then you understand that it's not just okay for you. You know, for many people, they just go into they just go into businesses because their friend goes into it. You know, you hear people say, "Oh, this business is moving." Especially in the country where I belong to, Nigeria, you hear, "Oh, this product is moving, this business is moving." Everybody jumps on that, and after a while, the market is saturated. People are no longer making sales, and then everybody start looking for the next thing to jump on. But you see, as an entrepreneur, as someone who wants to make massive sales in business, you have to learn to identify problems. And you see, the reality is that problems are there. They are not just readily, easily. They are there. They are plenty, but you just have to develop the skill to identify problems. So how do you identify problems? If you already have a business right now, if you already have products and services that you provide, then I want you to do this little exercise. What problems do you want to solve, or are you solving? Okay, so if you're bringing out new products, you're bringing out new services, this is the question to ask yourself. What problems do you want to solve? Before you go into the market, before you go and rent the shop, before you go and get new staff, before you go ahead to even want to even get people to help you out, this is the first question to ask. See, listen to me. It is very, very important that you are able to answer this question adequately. So if you already have a business, the question is, what problems are your business solving? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever really had to sit down to find out? Because when you understand these and you can answer this question effectively, it will help you in your marketing efforts. It's going to help you in the way you communicate your business, in the way you communicate your products, in the way you communicate the services that you provide. Why? Because you know the problems that you are actually solving, that you're actually providing solutions to. Okay, so let's do this little exercise. Okay, list out 5 problems, at least 5 problems that your product or service will solve or is solving. If you're just trying to launch a new product, you're just trying to launch a new business, a new service, I want you to list 5 problems, at least 5 problems that your product or service will solve or is solving. Okay, let's take for instance, maybe you're into fashion, you want to release a product into the market, maybe a new set of clothes. Let's say you want to bring in, maybe you're a fashion designer and you want to set up a fashion house. Okay, what problems will you be solving? What problems will you be solving? In that case, you're going to be solving the problem of nakedness. You're going to be solving the problems of beauty. You're going to be helping people look more beautiful. So what problem are you solving? You're solving the problems of helping people to see the self-image of people, because people care about their self-image. Fashion, people who have low self-esteem, with good fashion, it could make them feel good. And that's why people do makeup. That's why females that's why females use makeup product. Okay, so you want to be able to answer the question. Okay, for instance, for this product right now, what problem am I solving? What problem is this product solving? This product is solving the problem of clarity, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who want to go into business, they don't have clarity about the product they should create. So clarity is a problem. Lack of clarity is a problem for them. So this product, this class is solving that for them. Okay, this massive sales box is solving the problem of lack of sales, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small business owners are not making sales, and that's a big problem. When they're not making sales, their business is going to fold up. So this product is solving that problem for them. So you want to be able to identify at least 5 problems that your product or service is solving. Is it shelter problem that it's solving? Maybe you are into real estate, or is it knowledge problem, maybe ignorance and illiteracy that is solving? If you are into the education, maybe you run a school and all of that, that is the problem you're solving. Okay, so maybe you are a consultant and you help people put their business together. So what problem do you solve? You solve the problem of clarity. You solve the and clarity is important. It's very important, because when people are clear, they will not lose money. When people have clarity, they will do things right and get the right result at the right time. Okay, so you want to be able to identify 5 problems that your product and service is solving or will solve. So go ahead and take the workbook and write those things down right now. Okay, so I assume that you're writing them down and you have written them down. Okay, let's go to the next thing: how to find problem to solve. So in case you're confused, you don't really know, okay, I want to go into business, I don't know what to do. So how I would say that business is all about solving problems, right? Yes. Okay, so how do you find problem to solve? How do you find problem to solve? This is a very big question. Remember I said that problems are everywhere, but it doesn't mean that they are just lying on the surface. Some of them are lying on the surface. Some problems are very clear. Yes, we're going to see them right now. But how do you exactly find problem to solve? Okay, so let's look at this. The human hierarchy of needs. Have you ever heard about this before? It was a man that brought this principle up. Okay, so let's look at the human hierarchy of needs. Okay, I told you that problems is all about needs and wants. Okay, so let's look at this. You have from the down up, that's, you look at this triangle, look at this old triangle, look at this triangle. The down from the bottom side is very large. You have the physiological needs. Those are needs that has to do with air. Those are the essential needs of every human being on earth: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. So right now, as we're going through this, you should be able to identify which of this section, which of this compartment does your business fall into based on the product or service that you provide. The next one is safety needs. So every human being has physiological needs, which has to do with the basic thing that is necessary for life. The things that if you don't have them, you may likely die. For instance, hair. If you don't have hair, you're not going to live. If you don't drink water, you're not going to live. If you don't have food, how are you going to live? Shelter is important for our excellent human condition. Okay, sleep is physiological needs. So if you have a product that will help people sleep better, I tell you, you're going to make a lot of money. Okay, clothing, you see, that's why fashion will never go out. People who are into fashion will never go out of business because fashion is always needed. Fashion is always needed. Does it mean that if you are into fashion, you might not run bankrupt? No, that doesn't mean. That will be as a result of mismanagement. Okay, reproduction. You see, that's why the fertility industry, you see, is a very big one. It's a billion-dollar industry. So if you have the magic medicine to help people fertile, to help people deliver, to help people become reproductive, then you're going to make a lot of money. So the next one is the safety needs. That's the next one, the safety needs. Talking about personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. Okay, so you look at that, the basic needs, personal security. You see, the security industry is a billion-dollar industry. Also, people who provide personal security, people who provide industrial security. You go to banks, you go to establishments, you look at all over Lagos, all over where I am, all over the major, in my street, almost every offices have security men. So if you could put, if your business, and today you have a lot of private security firms in Nigeria who are making hundreds and hundreds of thousands and hundreds of millions year in as revenue. Okay, employment. You see, if you have the magic if you could provide employment for people, you're going to make a lot of money. If you could help people get employment, you're going to make a lot of money. So you have resources, you have health. You see, that's very important. Also, you have property. Then the next one is love and belonging. In the next hierarchy of needs for human is love and belonging. That's where you have friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. So if you have product or service around these areas, also you are going to make a lot of money. Okay, so these are problems that humans they have. Okay, so where does your business fall into? Where does your product or service fall into? Are you thinking? Okay, so you have friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. The next one is esteem. That's talking about respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. Okay, very important. Okay, so within this human hierarchy of needs, where does your product or service fall into? Which of these needs are you meeting? The last one is the self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. So if you are into relationship, you are a dating coach, you are into relationship coach, you know that you fall within the love and belonging. Okay, if you're a therapist, your products and services fall into the love and belonging. Okay, so if you sell fashion, clothing, and all of that, you know that those are physiological needs. So understanding this pyramid, understanding this triangle really helps you to know what exactly you are meeting, what your product and service falls into. Okay, so you look at what needs is your product and service built on. Okay, so let's look at which of the needs does your product and service is built on. You have the basic needs, okay, which is the safety and the physiological needs. Then you have the psychological needs, which is the self-esteem, which is the esteem, love, and belonging. Then you have the self-fulfillment needs, which is the self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. Okay, you might want to say this last one is want. That's the self-fulfillment, you see, because the basic needs are the needs, and that's why you see, if you have your product, if you're into food, here you have a restaurant and you have let's say you have a restaurant, you sell food, you sell water, you make water, you have a water bottling company and all of that. You see, you fall into the basic needs. Okay, so if you're going to be bringing out a new product or a service, you have to know whether you are meeting the basic needs, or you are meeting the psychological needs, or you are meeting the self-fulfillment needs. And if you're already into business, you can identify your product or service within any of these needs. Okay, so you might want to take quality time to actually go through this over and over. Okay, so we've looked at the ways in which you can actually identify needs to meet. Okay, let's go back, look at it. we're talking about how to find problems to solve. Okay, so we've looked at the human hierarchy of needs. Don't forget that. Talking about what need is your products and services built on. Then now number 2, we want to look at market gaps and loopholes. Another way in which you can find problem to solve is to look at the market gaps and loopholes. Every market has a gap. Every market have loopholes, gaps that people are yet to meet, gaps that are yet to be filled. So you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. You see, market gaps are opportunities disguised as voids. A gap in the market is a place or area that current businesses aren't serving. Okay, a gap in the market is a place or an area that current businesses they aren't serving. So if there are market gaps in every industry, there are market gaps. So you just have to find a way to identify those gaps. How do you do that? You brainstorm, you do market research, you ask questions, you put out questionnaire, you go out there and ask the customers, ask the audience, ask the target market questions, ask them questions, critical questions. Are there areas in which you are not being met? Ask them about your competitors. What is this product doing for you? What is this service doing for you? You need to look for those market gaps. The market gaps sometimes can be even price differences, and you look into coming to the market, bridging that price difference. Okay, that price difference. Okay, so market gaps are very important and loopholes are very important. Let me give you a story. The story is about the recent battle in Nigeria in the soft drinks industry. Okay, so I'll give you the story quickly. You remember that in Nigeria, if you were traveling on the road, interstate, or you're traveling, you know that the number one drink people always ask for is Lacasera or Coke. Okay, let's say 2. It's usually, about 8, 10, 15 years back, it usually was Lacasera and Coke, and something happened along the way, and Lacasera lost that big market share. When people started giving bad news about Lacasera, that it was too strong chemical wise, that you could use the chemical to wash, you could use Lacasera to wash stains off your clothes and all of that. That bad review, that terrible review actually brought down that product out of the market, and Coke became the major product that people were consuming. Okay, so what happened when Lacasera went out of the market? They tried everything possible to introduce Lacasera back into the market, but it wasn't working. Nigerians, once the bias was already created, there was nothing Lacasera could do. Okay, so that created a market gap. And do you know who came in to fill that market gap? That was how Biggie Cola came into the market. Biggie Cola came into the market and then decided to fill that market gap, and they filled the loophole. They introduced the Biggie Cola into the market. And you see, what happened was that when Biggie Cola came into the market, whether Biggie or Cola or Biggie Cola, that product came in with a price differentiation technique, which was that the 50 cl that Coca-Cola was selling for 150 naira, Biggie Cola came into the market because they knew they couldn't compete with Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a big brand. Everybody knows Coca-Cola and all of that. So they knew that to fill that gap that Lacasera had left, okay, they needed to use the technique of price differentiation to come into the market. So Coca-Cola was selling the 35 cl for 100 naira and the 50 cl for 150. Do you know what happened? Biggie Cola came into the market and introduced the same products, the same kind of product, the same look and everything, meaning that for innovation you don't need to reinvent the wheel to innovate. So they came into the market and brought the 50 cl. What do you know what they did? They sold it for 100 naira, and people jump on Biggie Cola. Everywhere was the cola drink, was the Biggie drink, and Nigerians almost, and Coca-Cola felt the heat. They felt the heat. That was a big gap that Biggie Cola came into the market to fill. So they saw the loophole, they saw the gap, and they fill up the loophole and the gap. So this is one way in which you can actually find problem to solve in your market. You look for gaps that are being left behind by current businesses. You look for loopholes that are being created by competition, by your competitors, and then you decide to fill it. Let me tell you the end of that story. The Lakasera company didn't actually go to sleep. They were actually working on the ground to introduce another product into the market to actually get back their market share. And few years after, Lakasera introduced the drink you call Smooth Chapman. And they brought Smooth Chapman into the market. And when they first brought Smooth Chapman into the market, it wasn't accepted by a lot of Nigerians. What the Lakasera company did was that the Chapman is a premium drink. If you go to bar and all of that, that Chapman is a very expensive drink. So what they did was that they brought that expensive drink and made it available to the masses. If you know Chapman very well, you know that the Chapman taste is quite distinct, it's quite unique. So they brought that premium drink and bottled it into small quantity, so that the common man in Nigeria, the masses, can also have a taste of the premium Chapman drink. That was amazing. That was a very, very powerful strategy. And the thing was that for Biggie Cola, sorry to say, a lot of high network individuals didn't like the drink. I didn't like the drink. Why? Because it tastes like a wash of Coca-Cola. I'm sorry to say that this is just my own personal opinion. You don't have to. If you're listening to me, you are a brand of Biggie Cola and all of that. No, don't take this personally. This is just my own opinion, and I'm sorry about that opinion. Okay, but the masses loved Biggie Cola. But for the elite, no, you will never go to a party in Landmark Event Center or go to a wedding in VR or in Ikoyi and you see people drinking Biggie Cola. It was Coca-Cola. If they were going to serve any soft drink, it has to be Coca-Cola. And Lakasera saw that big gap and they came into the market with the Smooth Chapman. And when they came into the market with the Smooth Chapman, when they saw that Biggie Cola was selling the 50 cl for 100 naira, they jumped into the market also and started selling. They were usually selling the 35 cl of Smooth Chapman for 100 naira, but they now brought in the 50 cl for 100 naira, competing head to head with Biggie Cola. You know what happened? They got their market share back. Smooth Chapman appealed to the elite and also appealed to the masses, just like Lakasera was initially. So you see, and today now, if you go to parties on the highland, you go to parties in the high places, Surulere area and all of that, you see that everyone usually asks for Smooth. Supermarkets are selling them right now. You don't even find in the supermarket because usually it gets to finish very quickly. And you see, the thing eventually is that quality will always win over quantity, especially all things being equal, prices being equal, and every situation being equal. Quality will always push down quantity. Okay, so I think this my story really explained to you how you can identify market gaps and loopholes. Okay, another way you can actually identify market gaps and loopholes is to consider niche markets. Okay, small business owners often think too broadly when it comes to the market. However, it is always better to think small when it comes to the gaps in the market. So you might want to niche. Another way to fill up gaps, to identify gaps and loopholes in the market, to find problems to solve, is to niche further. It's always better to think small when it comes to gaps in the market. The more specific your market, the more likely you will be able to target them effectively. So you might want to niche down. Maybe, for instance, a restaurant, you want to go into restaurant business and you're looking for gaps. Another way you can get gaps and loophole in that market is to niche. You can decide, okay, I'm not just going to do the normal general restaurant of serving food and all of that. We're going to niche to the selling just vegetables. You see, you want to niche down. This is a restaurant for just vegetable, cook vegetable, boiled vegetable. If you want to eat healthy vegetables, this is the restaurant for that. I don't think there's any restaurant presently which does only vegetables. I'm yet to see. There could be, but I'm not yet to see. You see, but that's a gap. That's a loophole in that market. So niching helps you to fill up gaps and loophole in the market, which eventually helps you to find problem to solve. There are a lot of people who wants to eat healthy food. They don't want to eat junks. They don't want to eat microwave food, fast food, and all of that. They just want natural, healthy meats. And if you niche to that place instead of doing a general restaurant, you will always get customers. Okay. Identify unsolved problems. Another way you can fill gaps and loophole in the market is to identify unsolved problems. When you boil a market gap down to its very essence, it is an answer to a problem that's not currently being solved. Okay, so although this is highly difficult, but it's possible. You want to solve a problem that has not been solved. You see, solving an existing problem will endear you to customers and cause your product to practically sell themselves. Okay, solving an existing, so you have to identify problems that have not yet been solved. Are there problems in your industry that are not yet being solved? Are there questions that customers are asking that have not been answered? These are gaps, these are opportunities for you to actually find problems to solve. Okay, so market gaps and market loopholes are very good example of how to find a problem to solve. Okay, if you have any question on this, you can always send me a mail or ask on the Telegram group. Okay, let's go further. Borrowing brilliance, copycat and improve. Okay, so how do you find problem to solve? This is the number 3 way. This is the third way in which you can find problem to solve. Remember, we said number 1, how to find problem to solve, the human hierarchy of needs. Okay, we talked about filling gaps. Remember, we talked about filling gaps and loopholes. Now we're talking about borrowing brilliance. What does it mean to borrow brilliance? It simply means to copycat and then you improve. Okay, let me read this to you. Innovation means never wasting time reinventing the wheel. Okay, when we were in school, when you were in school, it was wrong to copy, right? It was actually, you could even lose your result if you were found in the examination hall copying someone or looking at someone's answer sheet and all of that. It wasn't good in school. It was criminal to copy other people while you were writing exam in school. But in life, in real life, it's the opposite. In life, you have to learn how to copy effectively. You have to learn to be the copycat. Look at the face of this cat. You have to learn how to be a copycat. Innovation means never wasting time reinventing the wheel. There's no need for you to reinvent the wheel. Like the sample of Big Cola that I gave you, to a large extent, they are successful by doing what? Copying Coca-Cola. And they copied Coca-Cola effectively. You only need to ask yourself one question. Is there an opportunity in the market? This is what the question Biggie Cola asked. Is there an opportunity in the soft drink market? And the answer is yes, big opportunity. And they went into the market and copied Coca-Cola. You see, you just have to copy you just have to copy with sense. You just have to copy with sense. You don't have to copy verbatim, okay? But in life, copycat is allowed. So one way you can actually find problem to solve is actually so that you can create effective hot in demand product. You don't have to reinvent it. We don't go and be looking for something that I've never been before and say, I want to bring out this product, it had never been done before, blah 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 and all of that. No. There's a lot in the world that you can copy, and you can copy successfully. After all, a lot of scientific research will actually build on people copying each other's work, and eventually we have civilization today. Okay, so if there's an opportunity in that market, you might want to look into copying your competitors, copying products, and copying successful services that people are already offering. Okay, find the best element of your competitor's product. Okay, so how do you borrow brilliance? You see, you just have to find the best element of your competitor's product. Don't copy blindly. Look at other products and services and ask yourself which features work and why. Okay, so you want to look, if you want to copy, you want to borrow brilliance, you want to do a copycat of your competitors, you just don't have to copy blindly. What do you have to do? You have to look for the best feature of that product. You have to look for the best feature of that service and ask yourself which of these features works best and why do they work. And once you can find that, you can duplicate the same thing And if as long as the market is big and large and the opportunities are there, then you go into the market and use price differentiation to sell, or you use something else, maybe speed or best ease of delivery, excellent service. There are quite a lot of things that you can use to differentiate whatever products you copy. Okay, now let's look at this case. When Facebook and Instagram copied Snapchat, they didn't clone the platform. Instead, they observed which features were getting the most engagement, namely stories. You know, the Facebook stories you see today and the Instagram stories you see today weren't something that Facebook manufactured by themselves. No, Instagram didn't manufacture it by itself. They copied Snapchat. Yes, you can hear that again. They copied Snapchat, and they slowly roll out their own version. So when they copy Snapchat, they didn't clone the platform. So I'm not saying you should go and clone your competitor's product. No, I'm not saying you should go and steal people's trademark or logo or stuff like that. No, we are saying look for the features that are working, that people are craving for from your competitor, and then add it as part of your own feature, as part of your own product, or build an entirely new service or product on that. You see, and Facebook then slowly roll out their own version, which leverage their own customer base and data. They just copied Snapchat story, and today everybody is hearing about Instagram story, hearing about Facebook story. So these are the ways in which you can find market gaps and market loopholes to create your own hot and in-demand product. I tell people that for me, I think this is one of the best ways. So you just go out and see what is already selling. What is already selling in the market, and make sure the market is very large. And if the market is very large, I tell you, if you copy effectively and copy efficiently, you will also have your own hot and in-demand product or service. Okay. Module 2. So how do you create hot and in-demand solutions? You see, we've talked about how you can identify problem. Okay, we spoke about in the last module, we spoke about how to find problems to solve. What are the problems you can solve, and what are the problems that you see in the market gaps, market loopholes, human hierarchy of needs, and all of that. But now we want to look at how do you create hot and in-demand solutions, because remember the 3 P's of product creation. We have the problem, and then we have the promise, which is the solution. So that's where we are in right now. Solutions. So how do you provide, how do you create hot and in-demand solutions to the problem that you see in the market, to the problem that you have identified and that you want to solve? Okay, now list 5 solutions your product or service brings to your target market. Now, your solutions are your products. Your solutions are your services. Okay? So your product is the answer, is the solution to the problem that you have identified. Your service is the answer, is the product is the answer to the problems that you have identified. So list 5 solutions your product or service brings to your target market. Can you do this now in your workbook? You should be able to list 5 solutions that your product or service brings to your target market. For instance, for these products that you're listening to right now, that you're watching right now, that is solving a particular problem for you, what are the solutions? Number one, the solutions it brings is that it brings sales solution. Going through this product, going through this class helps you to start making massive sales. It brings clarity solutions. Remember that. It brings clarity solutions. Remember that. It brings the confident solution. Why? Because once you are confident as a small business owner, once you know what to do exactly, then it becomes easy for you to get results. So I want you to list out 5 solutions. You have to think deeply to list out 5 solutions that your product or service brings to your target market. You may want to spend time on that, doing that, redefining it over and over again. Okay, so let's go forward and look at how to communicate your solution to your target market. How do you communicate your solution? Now that you know the solution, which is your product or service, You have identified them. You created your product, you created your service for the problem you have identified in the market. How do you communicate your solution to your market? Very important, because a lot of people fail in this. Let me tell you, if you have a wonderful, excellent, hot and in-demand solution, product or service, and you don't communicate it well, it will not still sell. It will not sell. You won't be able to rake in massive sales. So it's important to know how to communicate your product, your service, which is your solution, to your target market. Okay, create your unique selling point. So to communicate your product and service effectively in the market, you have to create your unique selling point, or what is called your unique selling proposition, which is the USP. Okay, you have to learn to communicate that which makes you unique. So what makes you unique? What makes your product unique? These are the questions you need to ask. Is it speed of delivery? Is it excellent? Is it excellent customer service? Is it the effectiveness of your product, the uniqueness of your product? Is it the make of your product? Maybe you're selling shoes and the shoes are made with leather, snake leather or cow leather, whatever leather, something unique about your product. You need to communicate that effectively. You need to create your unique selling point and communicate it effectively. So this will help differentiate your product in the market. So you want to explain, you want to communicate your product or your service every time uniquely in the market. And the best way to do that is to create your set of unique selling points. So what makes you different? Okay, what customer wants, what you do well. What do you do well? You know what your customer wants. Look at this diagram, and then what you do well. Okay, so you need to be able to communicate what you do well. What is your strong point? What differentiates your product or service? What is the actual value your product or service deliver? You need to communicate this key point. Every time you are communicating on social media, you're running ads. How many of you see Airtel ads? Airtel, they do very meaningful ads. I'm always impressed by their ads. So you need to be able to communicate your product and service. You need to be able to communicate the uniqueness of your product and service. Maybe in a further class, I'm going to put up a whole course on unique selling proposition, how to explain and communicate your value proposition in the market. I think I'm going to do a course on that, unique value proposition, how to actually explain your USP, create your differentiate your product in the market, communicate the actual value of your product or service. So these are the ways in which you can communicate your product, your solution in an effective way that will cause your audience, your target market, to listen to you and rush for your product. So you need to create your unique selling proposition. What makes you different? What is unique about your service? What is unique about your brand? What differentiates your product or service? What differentiates your brand? You look into your competitors and see what they do well and what they're not doing well, and use those research results to differentiate your product or service or brand in the market. Okay, package your solution to attract your target market. So you want to communicate your solution in an effective way that will cause your market to rush for that product, for that service, for that solution. You want to package your solution to attract your target market. Make sure that your product is packaged effectively. Don't give your product or service packaging to ineffective. Don't even try to save cost. I see a lot of small business owners, because they want to save cost and all of that, they now nonchalantly package their product or service. You see, you sell things to people on Instagram, on Facebook, and then they are not well packaged, the pictures are not well taken. You see, the way you represent your product in terms of packaging on the digital space is the way people are going to interpret that product or service. So you want to have a unique branding, maintain your brand color. Don't let your products carry different brand color at different times, except that's your strategy anyway. If that's your strategy, well, I don't know, but I think it's good you maintain a unique branding for your product and service. Maintain your brand color and be excellent. So These are the ways in which you can communicate that product and service effectively to your target market that will cause your target market to rush for you, will cause your target market to come to you. Your brand must be unique. You must communicate your brand in a unique way, package your solution to attract your target market, maintain your brand color, be excellent. So right now I want you to look at your products and services. Are they well packaged? Are they well packaged? Your landing page, are they uniquely designed? You look at the landing page of this product and service. When you got there, a lot of people say they love the landing page. That's packaging. You must package your solution in an attractive way. Your packaging, your brand must be unique. You must maintain your brand color and let your brand color be very good colors. Don't mix rainbows together, those rainbow color and stuff like that. Okay, and be excellent in your delivery, be excellent in your service, be excellent in your customer experience. All of these things together, put together, will cause your target market to rush for your product or service. Okay, so let's go further to module 3. Okay, the module 3 is the last module in this class, which is the process. That's the last part, the process, telling your brand story. Remember that the 3 P's of product creation, the 3 P's that can help you to create or source for hot and in-demand products is the number 1, recognizing the problem, identifying problems. Number 2, profiling solution, which is your product and service. Then number 3, which is the process, telling your brand story. That's the how of how you do what you do. Excuse me. That's the how of what you do. How is your product? What are the process involved in bringing these products to the market? What's your brand story? Storytelling is the best marketing strategy. It's the best marketing. People love story. We all love story. Remember when we were growing up, every one of us, we love story. We used to sit down around our grandpas, the grandmas, telling us story and all of that. Even in our academic books, then in primary school, used to be story upon story and all of that. So you want to explain the process of how your product deliver the promise it says it will deliver. People love to hear the story. So you have to learn to tell your brand story. Remember, human to human connections are the heart and soul of business. At the end of the day, you are dealing with people. Your company is solving problems, alleviating pain points, and providing delightful customer experiences. Revenue is something that happens as a byproduct of a sound business model and a positive customer experience. So you want to be able to communicate how your product deliver the promise it has made to people, how your product takes people from problem to promise. You want to be able to explain that process. You want to communicate what your product does, and you want to communicate how your product is influencing people, how it's impacting people. People love to hear those stories. People need to hear it. Okay, so these are the processes. You want to even do a backstage, a back scene of how your product are being made, how you move from all of that. Like in this product that I created, I showed you some of the pictures of when I was creating this product, when I was creating this particular product. I showed it to you. So I was telling my brand story. We're telling our brand story. Okay, so this is very, very essential. What's your brand story? So these are the questions that can help you tell your brand story, to find the processes in which to communicate that how your product move people from problem to solution. How does your product or service work? Okay, so you want to write all of this down. How does your product or service, how do they work? People want to hear these things. They want you to explain this into them. You want to be able to communicate all of this in your marketing services, or your communication. What are your delivery channels? Very important. What is the detailed story behind your product or service? You want to be able to talk about how your product or service work. What is your product or service? What are they made of? The process is very important. All of these things, because a lot of time I tell entrepreneurs, I tell small business owners to tell stories, and they say, I don't know the story to tell, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to communicate that in my advertisement and all of that. But these are the things that can help you communicate your brand story. How does your product or service work? What are your delivery channels? What is the detailed story behind your product or service? Okay, These are the questions that you ask that can help you begin to tell your brand story. You see a sample of a lot of brand story in some of the material, extra material that we provided for this class. You can go look at them, look at those samples, and then you can adapt your brand story. You can communicate your brand story according to what you see. Okay. Thank you so very much for being a part of this class. I know right now you are geared up, and then with this class, watch this video again and again and use it to create hot and in-demand products. Use it to create urgency for your product in the market and cost, and begin to have people rush for your product and services. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next class.